Good afternoon or evening, everyone, depending on where in the world you are joining us from today. I am Kyra Mann, Board Chair of IMP and CEO of Mito Action, a leading US-based patient advocacy organization supporting those impacted by mitochondrial disease. It is my honor to host today's LHON Awareness event. Last year's inaugural event was wildly successful, and IMP continues to be committed to growing the ways we support and collaborate with the global LHON community. What a wonderful way to kick off Mitochondrial Disease Awareness Week. This past year has been such a challenge for everyone across the globe. So how inspiring that we can come together and raise our collective voices, share stories of hope, triumph, but also equally important to share the struggles so the world can understand the urgent needs for the mitochondrial disease community. This year marks the 10-year anniversary of the founding of IMP. We are beyond indebted to IMP's founder, Elia van der Veer, for her vision and dedication to unite the global mitochondrial disease community through IMP. She has been a trailblazer for our community, and I know that I can speak for the entire community when I say that her work raised the bar for all of us, and we are honored to be entrusted to continue in her spirit of collaboration and unity. Over the years, IMP has brought together national patient organizations from around the world, facilitated international discussions about mitochondrial diseases, led workshops for our clinicians, researchers, and pharmaceutical partners, supported thousands of patients and their families worldwide, and continues to uncover new ways for the global mitochondrial community to work together for the good of the patients and families. Through strengthening relationships with clinicians, researchers, scientists, and industries, membership in the European Organization for Rare Disease, and work with bodies such as the European Reference Network, IMP continues to make an impact on a global scale. With a mission to increase the quality of life for people with mitochondrial disease by facilitating cross-border cooperation and collaboration among national patient organizations, IMP facilitates the ability to share best practices and move forward the development of appropriate pathways and management of mitochondrial disease. We continue to be a bridge between patients, clinicians, scientists, industry, and policymakers, all with the goal of the advancement and speedy development of treatments and cures, no matter where you live in the world. Some of the most exciting initiatives include the Global Patient Registry, which will create a non-clinical data bank of mitochondrial disease patients across the world. The registry will provide key insights to help researchers and clinicians better understand mitochondrial disease, with the hopes this critical information will advance the development of therapies and ultimately lead to cures. Our Cure Mills research project aims to develop therapies for mitochondrial DNA-associated Leigh syndrome. In 2019, IMP published a quality of life study that confirmed that chronic pain is experienced by the majority of adult mitochondrial patients. Along with fatigue, chronic pain is a core symptom which is often overlooked. So currently, a new quality of life study is underway, focusing on everyday coping strategies for 8 to 18-year-old Mito patients. And of course, IMP is proud to lead the annual Mitochondrial Disease Awareness Week, raising global awareness of this rare disease, the challenges faced day to day by our community, and the urgent need for increased research and therapy development. As the primary liaison and support of mitochondrial disease patients all over the world, with a focus on supporting families where there is no patient advocacy organization, individuals can contact IMP for support, access to resources and services, but most important, sometimes just a listening ear when you need it most, to know that wherever you are on your journey and whatever challenges you're facing, you're not alone. IMP is the voice for our community as we communicate the impact of Mito to the European Medicines Agency, US Food and Drug Agency, and other authorities with the aim of impressing the urgent need for treatments and cures. We all know that those affected by Mito, whether you are a patient, family member, caregiver, or loved one, can feel isolated, geographically, emotionally, and socially. With some forms of Mito being desperately rare, it can be difficult to find others with the same condition. IMP is proud to ensure that we stay connected with one another, no matter where you are in your journey, no matter where you live, because together we are stronger and we are all in this together. Today, we have an incredible lineup of speakers who will discuss the many facets of technology for the LHON community. We encourage you to ask questions along the way and take an active role in the conversation. We will do our best to respond to as many inquiries as possible as we move through the presentation. So to get us started, please join me in welcoming IMP board member Paula Morandi and one of the key leaders behind today's program. Paula is also the mitochondrial eye disease patient representative in Italy for Mitocon. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyra. Many thanks to IMP for the opportunity to host the very second LHON Awareness Day. Why do we want to have an LHON Awareness Day? The idea started about 5 years ago in Barcelona, Spain, when a group of European patient representatives, LHON patient representatives, got together and started talking, discussing about the idea of raising awareness on LHON. LHON is still so very much unknown. It is an eye disease that starts in the brain. It starts with the ganglion cells where the optic nerve is attached to the retina, and the mitochondrions begin to die. First they fall asleep and then they die. I have been affected myself for 30 years this year. And in the last 30 years, I've seen so much change, especially in the role of patients. Patients are now at the center of research. We, patients associations, patients groups, patients organizations, have an active role in research in rare diseases and LHON in particular. We definitely need to raise awareness because there are many other eye diseases. There's a European reference network where over 900 rare diseases are representative, but very little is still being said about mitochondrial eye diseases. So this is really why we have talked so much about having an LHON Awareness Day. And last year was the first one that IMP so kindly hosted for the first time. The theme last year was, in fact, diagnosis and therapy, because diagnosis is still not early enough. There's still a huge problem in diagnosing LHON. It is often misdiagnosed as multiple sclerosis or a brain tumor or something else. And today we can say that we are going towards a cure. We're going towards prevention. There is a drug that can be taken in Italy. It needs to be taken before the end of the first year since set off of the disease. So it's very important to have diagnosis. This year we thought that the theme would be the importance of technology for LHON patients, because technology really makes a difference. If it weren't for technology, I wouldn't be able to do all the things I do today. And many students wouldn't be able to study. Many people wouldn't be able to work. Technology is extremely important. And I'm really very proud to introduce to you an expert in technology and who is also himself affected by LHON. We have with us today Mikhaile Landolfo from the Cavazza Blind Institute in Bologna. Mikhaile and I met about 3 years ago when with Mitocon, the Italian Mitochondrial Disease Patients Organization, who's also a founding member of IMP. I went to Bologna to visit the Cavazza Institute, and I met Mikhaile, who is in charge of the visual devices for blind and low vision patients. And when he first met me, he asked me what I was affected by, and I told him I was affected by LHON, and he said, "Me too." And this really started a new friendship. So everybody, here is Mikhaile Landolfo from Bologna. To you, Mikhaile.
Buon pomeriggio, buongiorno a tutti. Paola, mi senti? Mi senti, Paola?
Sì.
Ok, ottimo. Allora, intanto saluto tutti, saluto l'associazione internazionale che raggruppa tutti i pazienti che soffrono di patologie mitocondriali, quindi per me è un grande piacere poter partecipare a questa importante settimana.
Okay, I'd like to greet everybody, to say hello to everybody, in particular to the International Mito Patients Community, the association, the federation that is hosting all mitochondrial diseases today. For me, it's a great honor to be here with you.
Oggi, in questa pomeriggio italiano, non so che ore siano nei vostri paesi, parleremo insieme di tecnologia e dell'importanza che la tecnologia ha per le persone che hanno problemi di vista.
Okay, today in this Italian afternoon, I don't really know what time it is, wherever you all are, we're going to discuss about the importance of technology for LHON patients.
Come vi raccontava Paola, io ho la LHON dall'età di 17 anni, quindi sono esattamente 17 anni che diciamo soffro di questa patologia e ormai ovviamente è diventata cronica. La patologia mi ha colpito tra la fine e l'inizio della quarta superiore, quindi ho finito la terza superiore che vedevo 10 decimi e ho iniziato la quarta superiore con un cinquantesimo e senza l'utilizzo di tecnologie assistive, in quel specifico caso nel 2004 lo screen reader JAWS, non sarei riuscito a diplomarmi.
So I became affected when I was 17, which is exactly 17 years ago. I've now become chronic. When I became affected, I was right between my third and fourth year of high school. If I hadn't had JAWS and screen readers, I wouldn't have been able to graduate from high school.
Perciò la tecnologia è per tutti i pazienti con problemi di vista uno strumento essenziale per poter tornare, riprendere la propria vita allo stato al quale era precedentemente. Quindi è possibile, imparando a usare determinate tecnologie che vedremo oggi, tornare a studiare, se si studiava precedentemente, prima che i sintomi di una qualsiasi patologia visiva insorgano. È possibile tornare a lavorare, qualsiasi sia il lavoro, ed è possibile continuare a vivere la propria vita al massimo delle sue possibilità.
Therefore, technology is extremely important for anyone affected by LHON. If you studied before, it is possible to go back to studying. And if you work, it is possible to go back to work, whatever job you had.
Prima di cominciare, vi racconto solamente di cosa mi occupo qui a Bologna e in Italia. Io sono 6 anni che sono un consulente per le persone ipovedenti e non vedenti presso un istituto per ciechi che si chiama Francesco Cavazza a Bologna, e negli ultimi 6 anni ho incontrato oltre 1000 persone con problemi di vista. nessuno con la LHON prima di incontrare Paola Morandi, che è stata la prima persona che ho conosciuto che aveva la mia stessa patologia. E oltre a questa attività io mi occupo di accessibilità, quindi di normativa e normazione della legge europea e italiana che si occupa di accessibilità e di valutazione di siti internet e mobili, e versioni mobili dei siti.
Okay, so can you hear me? Mi senti, Michele?
Io ti sento benissimo, certo.
Mi sono stata messa su muto. Okay, so Michele was saying that actually he went for a long time without meeting anybody with LHON. I was actually the first person that Michele met with LHON. He was very surprised, and it really changed his outlook on things. Now he's working with technology and helping people continue with their life.
Ok, partiamo immediatamente con una panoramica di quali sono le tecnologie e perché sono importanti per le persone con problemi di vista, per le persone che hanno la LHON, ma qualsiasi sia la problematica visiva, le tecnologie che vedremo sono essenziali. Cominciando con una simulazione di ipovisione. Volevo mostrare, chi ha la LHON ovviamente sa di cosa stiamo parlando, però magari ci sta guardando qualcuno che assiste una persona che ha la LHON nello specifico, o una persona curiosa che non sa che cosa sia la LHON e come influisce nella visione di una persona, e quindi ho voluto portarvi una simulazione di questa patologia. In questo momento in foto c'è il centro di Tokyo.
Okay, so I'd like to start with a simulation. Those who are affected by LHON will understand, but those who maybe assist or live with the person with LHON, or maybe somebody who's just curious to understand a little bit more about LHON can follow through. Right now we are looking at the center of
Tokyo? La città di Tokyo?
We're looking at the center of Tokyo.
Allora, in questo momento faccio partire questa applicazione per simulare una patologia. In realtà sarebbe la maculopatia, ma l'effetto alla fine è lo stesso, e io praticamente con uno slide aumento i sintomi della patologia fino a oscurare la parte centrale, che poi è l'effetto che provoca la LHON. Ora sto cercando di inquadrare e cercando di far comprendere come una persona che ha la LHON sfrutti la periferia. In questo momento lo scotoma è molto grande, forse ho un po' anche esagerato con la dimensione dello scotoma, ma era per mostrarvi che le persone che hanno la LHON perdono la visione centrale, e scopriremo cosa causa questa perdita di visione centrale.
A special application that simulates central scotoma. It is actually an app that is supposed to show macular degeneration, but the result is more or less the same because there is a central scotoma. As you see, the central scotoma gets larger and larger. Perhaps I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you can get the idea of what it's like to lose your central vision.
Quali sono gli effetti quindi che causa una perdita di campo visivo centrale? Ovviamente la perdita di lettura, la perdita della capacità di lettura, la perdita della capacità di scrittura, la visione quella più dedicata alla visione di precisione, come potrebbe anche essere puntare il dito verso un punto. Noi centralmente quel punto non lo vediamo, quindi non riusciamo a coordinare, diciamo, la nostra mano verso la direzione del punto.
vision, you lose the capacity of reading, writing, and even pointing your finger, your focus on a central object. We lose that focus because we're losing our central vision.
E quando questo scotoma, quindi questa macchina centrale è molto estesa, si va a perdere anche spesso autonomia e mobilità. Il campo visivo esterno viene generalmente utilizzato per il movimento e l'orientamento, e se il campo visivo in alcuni pazienti LHON, comunque lo scotoma è molto esteso e va a colpire anche campo visivo esterno, si rischia anche di perdere la mobilità e l'autonomia, e quindi bisogna usare degli strumenti appositi anche per la mobilità, come il classico bastone bianco o il cane guida.
In those patients where the central scotoma is so large that you can lose focus, you can lose your orientation and ability to move around. And in those cases, then you have to use devices like a white cane and so on.
Parliamo quindi di tecnologie, quindi parliamo di dispositivi. Io in questa slide il titolo è dispositivi per persone con problemi di vista e dispositivi anche per ciechi, ma intendevo, non conoscevo la traduzione, Paola, ausili passati dal Servizio Sanitario Nazionale, quindi sono strumenti che il nostro Servizio Sanitario, quindi il Servizio Sanitario Italiano, passa interamente o con una compensazione a carico, diciamo, dell'utente, e io li voglio, diciamo, in Italia si chiamano ausili.
Say is special devices that are covered by the Italian health system, and these are devices that can be useful for blind and low vision patients.
Gli ausili sono video ingranditori portatili e fissi. Sono strumenti che ingrandiscono di un numero di ingrandimenti vario il testo che è posizionato sotto alla fotocamera del video ingranditore.
Enlargers, they can be of different sizes, and they can be portable or desktop, and they can enlarge up to different amounts.
Oltre ai video ingranditori, quindi strumenti che ci consentono di sfruttare il campo visivo periferico, altri strumenti pensati, consigliati per le persone con problemi di vista sono gli screen reader, quindi i lettori di schermo. Vai pure, Paola.
Other devices that allow us to use the peripheral residue whenever we have one, and other devices are screen readers.
In questa lista ho aggiunto anche i display Braille che rimangono attuali, il Braille, display Braille, note taker, tutto ciò che riguarda comunque il mondo del Braille. È essenziale per gli studenti che debbano studiare determinati tipi di contenuti, come la matematica, l'inglese, lingue straniere, in realtà matematica, lingue straniere e musica.
Also very important, especially for those students who have to study languages, music, and maths.
E sistemi OCR e sistemi per la lettura automatica, che come vedremo sono dei sistemi semplificati che consentono di leggere documenti cartacei, dépliant o biglietti da visita.
There are OCRs and other reading tools that allow us to read printed materials such as brochures, business cards, and so on.
Il video ingranditore che si vede a schermo in questo momento è un video ingranditore da tavolo che ingrandisce di diverse decine di volte ciò che si mette sotto il video ingranditore. Di solito questi dispositivi hanno uno schermo che va dai 18 ai 25 pollici e ovviamente è consigliato per coloro che hanno un residuo visivo tale da consentire di sfruttare la vista periferica, nel caso della LHON, ovviamente.
What you're looking at now is a video enlargers that is usually between 18 and 25 inches in width, and it can enlarge up to 10, 20, 30 times. And this is usually useful for LHON patients who have a pretty good visual residue, peripheral residue.
Esistono varianti di questo tipo di ausilio dispositivo che comprendono OCR, quindi un sistema di riconoscimento caratteri e quindi lettura tramite sintesi vocale, così che l'utente possa sfruttare la vista e, quando stanco, sfruttare l'ascolto del testo stampato.
Like this one that also include screen readers, so that when the person is tired of forcing his or her eyes, they can turn on the screen reader and listen to the voice synthesizer.
Dopo i video ingranditori fissi, mostro un tipo di video ingranditore portatile che ha il vantaggio di essere trasportabile e mobile. Si può tenere in tasca, nella borsa o nello zaino. Il vantaggio è appunto la mobilità dello strumento, lo svantaggio è che si sfrutta poca dimensione dello schermo. Questi dispositivi hanno uno schermo massimo di 10 pollici e quindi il testo ingrandito è poco.
Looking at the desktop enlarger, I'd like to show you a portable enlarger. The advantage is that you can carry it around with you in your pocket or in your handbag, but the disadvantage is that the screen is actually only up to 10 inches in width, and so it's a little bit smaller.
In questa slide invece mostro l'utilizzo di un sistema per la lettura automatica che in questo particolare prodotto è un occhiale con agganciato il vero computer che è in grado di riconoscere testi e leggerli ad alta voce con la sintesi vocale. Questo dispositivo è un dispositivo indossabile, ma esistono tantissimi dispositivi da tavolo che fanno la stessa cosa, quindi che consentono con facilità di leggere dei documenti cartacei.
So you can actually wear on your glasses, and it's a computer. It recognizes objects and things and reads out loud the things that are around you that you point your finger at. This device can be worn on your glasses, but there are also such devices that you can use as desktop or portable ones.
E come detto prima, non si può prescindere come strumento, ribadisco, mi sono espresso male, Paola. Allora, il prossimo strumento è un display Braille, come detto precedentemente, uno strumento consigliato se la perdita della vista è avviene in età precoce. Personalmente noi a Bologna consigliamo e insegniamo il Braille a tutti, ma è più efficace dai 7, 8 ai 12 anni. Lì sappiamo, se una persona ha una perdita di vista grave prima di quegli anni, allora il Braille può essere davvero uno strumento importante. In fase successiva dell'età di evoluzione della malattia, il rischio è che si possa imparare il Braille, ma non sia in grado di sostituire la lettura in nero.
The next device I'd like to show you is a Braille display. In Bologna, we like to suggest this device using Braille at a younger age. So if you lose your vision between the ages of 8 and 12, it's a good idea to learn Braille. It's good for studying at school. But if you lose your vision when you're older, it's a little bit more difficult.
Ora parliamo di tecnologie assistive e per tecnologie assistive intendo tutte quelle tecnologie che sono a bordo dei dispositivi di uso comune, come i telefoni che avete in tasca o il computer o i tablet che forse possedete.
Talk about assistive technology. By assistive technology, I mean everything you have in your pocket, like a telephone or a computer on your desk.
In questa slide ci sono due famiglie di prodotti, sulla sinistra un classico PC portatile e sulla destra un tablet.
Sure, we have on the left we have a classical PC and on the right we have a portable tablet.
Entrambi i dispositivi hanno a bordo tecnologie assistive, nel caso del computer un sistema di ingrandimento, uno screen reader, anche se non efficace come uno screen reader di terze parti, tecnologie per la scrittura vocale e tecnologie che consentono di migliorare la visione dello schermo.
Okay, so on the left in the computer we have a screen reader, we have an enlargement system, and we have I think you said OCR technology,
Dettatura vocale?
and voice synthesizers.
Ok. Sulla destra un tablet che monta che ha a bordo le stesse identiche tecnologie. Utilizzo questa slide spesso per mostrare però un diverso approccio nell'inserimento del testo. Nel caso del computer è imprescindibile, secondo me, secondo noi, l'utilizzo della tastiera mediante la dattilografia.
I like to show these slides, these two different pictures to highlight the difference. They're basically the same, but in a computer we have what do you call it? A keyboard, and it is very important to know how to use, to know how to touch type.
In Italia svolgiamo e puntiamo moltissimo sulla conoscenza della scrittura a 10 dita, che consente alla persona con problemi di vista di controllare l'intero sistema operativo mediante combinazioni di tasti.
The importance of using your 10 fingers, so touch typing, because this allows you to keep your concentration on your device.
Anche il tablet ovviamente consente di imparare e consente di collegare una tastiera esterna, però il principale utilizzo generalmente è mediante tocchi. Esiste una tastiera virtuale, ma penso che la maggior parte delle persone con problemi di vista, quando devono scrivere testi molto lunghi, si avvalgono della scrittura vocale, che comunque è uno strumento, una tecnologia pensata non solo per le persone non vedenti o vedenti, ma per tutti.
Your tablet too actually can have a keyboard, an outside keyboard, but usually they come with a virtual keyboard, and the majority of people with no vision or with low vision tend to use it with dictation.
Le tecnologie assistive sono presenti sia nelle tre famiglie di prodotti, nei computer, nei PC, computer Mac, negli smartphone Android e negli iPhone e in tutti i dispositivi Apple.
In all computers, in iPhones and Android, and all Apple devices.
Praticamente in tutti i dispositivi in poche parole, tutti i dispositivi in commercio usciti negli ultimi anni hanno a bordo tecnologie per l'ingrandimento, tecnologie screen reader o lettori di schermo o tecnologie che consentono di migliorare la visione.
been all devices that have been put in commerce, that have been produced in the last few years, are equipped with accessible voice synthesizers.
Persino l'Apple Watch di Apple o lo smartwatch di Samsung possiedono uno screen reader che permette alla persona non vedente e ipovedente di poter leggere le informazioni a schermo.
Even an Apple Watch or a Samsung smartwatch have a voice synthesizers that allow low vision and blind people to use them.
A schermo adesso ci sono tre gesti che permettono, ad esempio, consentono a una persona non vedente, ipovedente, di poter utilizzare lo smartphone o l'iPad o un sistema basato su tecnologia multitouch con uno screen reader.
On the screen now you have 3 different motions that allow people who use voice synthesizers to use the system.
Sebbene il computer si utilizzi appunto con combinazione di tasti, l'unico modo per controllare un dispositivo solo vetro è appunto la conoscenza di questi gesti. È una cosa che consiglio a tutti coloro che hanno problemi di vista, a prescindere dal grado, dalla gravità del problema di vista. Anche a persone ipovedenti con un buon residuo visivo io consiglio di imparare a usare bene VoiceOver o TalkBack in caso di dispositivi Android.
So sometimes when a voice synthesizer is present, this is the only way to use your device. So I strongly advise to even people who have a pretty good visual residue, to learn how to use voice synthesizers, which are VoiceOver or TalkBack, because it's very important for you to know how to use them.
Io svolgo un corso per over 65, sempre qui a Bologna, e sono riuscito a insegnare VoiceOver a un signore di 82 anni che è in grado adesso, la sua passione era la musica, e è in grado di crearsi le playlist di musica classica, la passione per la musica classica, e lui mi manda spesso delle playlist di musica classica e le crea tutte con VoiceOver.
Taught a course in Bologna, and I was able to teach an 82-year-old man how to use voice synthesizers and how to create his own playlist and in classical music, and now he sends me his own playlists every time.
A schermo in questo momento invece c'è il risultato del sistema di ingrandimento attivo. Quindi in una classica schermata di iPhone ci sono 4 colonne, ho ingrandito di 100-200 volte, adesso si vedono solo 2 colonne. Volendo, per spostare la visualizzazione alle colonne che non si vedono, si usa un particolare gesto a 3 dita per mostrare appunto lo schermo, che in questo momento è nascosto.
This is a classical enlargement on an iPhone, which I've enlarged for 100%, up to 100%. Usually you have 4 columns in an iPhone, and when it is enlarged so much, you can only see 2.
In quest'altra slide invece è attiva una modalità chiamata inversione colori, che può essere molto comoda per le persone che hanno difficoltà nella visione del bianco. È comunque stata superata probabilmente dalla dark mode, ma anche qui è davvero soggettivo il discorso, se usare dark mode o usare inversione colori. È vero che l'inversione colori agisce in tutte le app, in tutto il sistema, e quindi alcune applicazioni che possono avere la schermata bianca con la dark mode diventano nera, e non è detto che questo accada con la dark mode di Apple o di
This is another
Android.
mode that you can see here. It's a color mode, It's changed from the dark mode. This is for people who are very sensitive to white light. You can go, it's not necessarily all dark when you go in color mode, but it can make the screen darker.
Tutto quello che abbiamo visto e altro lo si trova nelle impostazioni dei vostri telefoni, nei vostri dispositivi tablet, negli smartphone, nei computer, all'interno di impostazioni accessibilità. Il consiglio è di esplorare queste sezioni e andare a conoscere tutte le possibilità che il vostro dispositivo offre.
Seen, we have talked about, you can find under setting and accessibility in your phones. I strongly suggest that you go and take a look and find out all the things you can do.
Parliamo adesso di un'altra categoria di tecnologie molto in voga negli ultimi anni, ovvero gli assistenti vocali e i dispositivi smart.
Talk now about a different category, which is very useful and very fashionable in the last few years. Voice assistants.
Questa tipologia di prodotto che venne lanciata da Apple con Siri e successivamente trasformata da Amazon in un prodotto ad hoc, in realtà è una tecnologia per persone con problematiche motorie, inventata oltre 30 anni fa ed è stata resa commerciale dagli ingegneri della Silicon Valley.
This technology was actually started by Apple and then taken over by Amazon, and it was actually started for people with mobility problems.
Attualmente esistono anche qui 3 grandi famiglie di prodotti che hanno a bordo un assistente vocale. Abbiamo la famiglia Amazon con i dispositivi Echo, Echo Dot, Echo Studio, Echo Show.
Mi ripeti il nome della famiglia perché è venuta
La famiglia Amazon, allora Echo, Echo Dot, Echo Studio, Echo Show.
Okay, have here we have 3 families who are very very common: Echo, Echo Dot, and Echo
Show.
Echo Show.
E ce ne
They're
sono
very-
anche altri, ovviamente. La famiglia di Google con i suoi dispositivi Next Home, Next, se non ricordo male, si dovrebbero chiamare così. Una volta erano i classici Google Home.
I believe they're called Next. Before they were called Google Home.
E c'è poi Apple con il suo assistente vocale Siri, che è installato in tutti i dispositivi prodotti.
iPhones have the voice assistant called Siri, which is installed in all devices.
Con gli assistenti vocali possiamo fare davvero molte cose. L'interfaccia vocale è l'interfaccia più accessibile per coloro che hanno problemi di vista ed è anche un'interfaccia semplice da usare per le persone anziane.
Voice synthesizers, we can really do lots and lots of things, and they're also very useful for elderly people.
In questa slide ho racchiuso, non ho tradotto in italiano, alcune frasi che si possono chiedere. Alcune di queste, adesso le leggerò, ad esempio dove mi trovo, un comando molto utile sugli smartphone.
Some phrases that I have translated. One of them, which is very useful, questions that you can ask Siri, for example, are one of them is, for example, where am I?
Siri o Google Assistant vi mostrerà la posizione, vi dirà dove siete ed è un'informazione molto utile quando ovviamente non sapete dove vi trovate.
exactly where you are, and this is very useful in case you happen to not to know where you are.
Esistono poi le classiche domande, ad esempio che ore sono, il classico timer, oppure in caso di navigazione, portami a destinazione, portami a casa.
Then you have the standard questions such as what time is it, or you can use the timer, or you can ask Siri to take you home.
Esistono ormai una quantità quasi infinita di comandi, e probabilmente una delle tecnologie che piace di più, soprattutto, nel nostro paese per l'alto numero, di anziani, visto che grazie a questi dispositivi è anche molto facile, chiamarsi tra famiglie, perché appunto basta un comando per chiamare una persona o videochiamare una persona.
This is one of the technologies that is very popular here in Italy, probably because of the large number of elderly people in this country, and because it is so easy to use. So many people use it for with one command you can call one another, you can call somebody in your family.
Abbiamo parlato di dispositivi smart e non possiamo non parlare delle televisioni smart. Grazie a dei veri e propri sistemi operativi installati nelle televisioni è possibile usare screen reader per leggere le informazioni che ci sono a schermo.
About smart devices, and we certainly have to talk about smart TVs, which now come with screen readers that read to you everything that is on the screen.
Per tutti coloro che non hanno una TV smart e che all'interno delle proprie impostazioni accessibilità non trovano lo screen reader, è possibile usare strumenti di Google o di Amazon, chiavette di Google o di Amazon per rendere la propria televisione smart.
For all those who don't have a smart TV, it is possible to use all those devices by Google or Amazon that can turn your TV into a smart TV.
Dopo aver parlato degli assistenti vocali, parliamo di domotica.
Of voice assistants, we can talk about domotics.
Se prima la domotica era un lusso per pochi, anche per la complessità di realizzazione di un sistema in grado di comunicare con i dispositivi, ora grazie ai colossi della Silicon Valley è possibile creare un sistema di controllo della propria casa con facilità e spendendo poco.
While some time ago it was considered a luxury available to only a few, now thanks to the giants in Silicon Valley, it can make your house smart and available to everybody.
Ad esempio, fra i dispositivi che ci consentono appunto tra i dispositivi di cui parliamo in questa slide, abbiamo un termostato che ci permette di controllare la temperatura della casa anche mediante la nostra voce.
In this slide, we have a thermostat which allows us to check the temperature and to supervise our temperature thanks to our voice.
Oppure delle classiche lampadine LED smart che ci permettono non solo di accendere e spendere, ma creare una giusta illuminazione personalizzata. Alcune persone con problemi di vista hanno molto fastidio fastidio provocato da un eccesso di luce bianca, o viceversa altre persone necessitano di tanta luce bianca, e quindi grazie alle lampadine smart è possibile costruirsi un'illuminazione su misura.
For example, there are also smart LED lights, and you can also control them through voice, your voice. This is not just for controlling the lights, but also because many people with low vision are very sensitive to certain lights, and in this way you can control the amount of light that you have in the room.
Infine, un'altra famiglia di prodotti che sta diventando sempre più smart sono lavatrici, lavastoviglie, quindi dispositivi che ci consentiranno un giorno di poter usare la nostra voce, solo la nostra voce, per controllare, ad esempio, un programma di un lavaggio, nel caso di una lavatrice.
Finally, other devices that are becoming smarter and smarter are things like washing machines, dishwashers, that one day will be totally controllable through voice.
Concludiamo con le app. Non potevamo ovviamente non parlare di tutto il variegato mondo di applicazioni, di ciò che permette di fare, ci consente di non solo telefonare con i nostri smartphone.
Go into the world of apps, we can see that there's a huge world of applications and things that we can do through our smartphones.
Quello che è da tenere a mente è che, a prescindere dal vostro problema di vista, se si impara bene a usare uno smartphone, un tablet o un PC, potete usare qualsiasi tipo di applicazione, e qualsiasi tipo di applicazione vi consente quindi di studiare, di lavorare e di seguire le vostre passioni e i vostri hobby.
What we need to keep in mind is that regardless of our vision problem, if we learn how to use a smartphone, a computer, this can open a door to anything. We can do anything. We can study and we can work.
In questa slide mostro applicazioni pensate un po' per tutti, che sono accessibili e utilizzabili da persone non vedenti e ipovedenti. Quindi Kindle, Spotify, Zoom, Singai, poi ne parleremo un attimo di Singai, Office, Facebook, Netflix, WhatsApp, Just Eat e così via.
I show you some of the applications, the main applications that are used by visually impaired people, like Spotify, Kindle, and so on.
Esistono poi delle applicazioni pensate proprio per le persone con problemi di vista.
Are also specific applications that are used specifically by people with vision impairment.
Ne cito alcune, la famosissima Singai, sviluppata dalla Microsoft, disponibile per iPhone, e anch'essa famosissima applicazione sviluppata da Google Lookout.
Amongst these, we have the very famous Seeing AI, which was developed by Google, and it is available for iPhones as well. And the other one is Microsoft Lookout.
È l'inverso, è il contrario. Cioè, Singai di Microsoft e Google Lookout di Google.
Seeing AI, Microsoft, and Lookout is by Google.
Sì, ci perdoneranno. E queste applicazioni consentono di riconoscere il testo, di riconoscere il prodotto, di riconoscere una banconota, di conoscere colori.
Application recognize text, to recognize money, color, and products.
La più grande utilità di questi dispositivi è proprio la lettura istantanea di una qualsiasi etichetta stampata, che consente alla persona con problemi di vista di riconoscere immediatamente il testo di appunto l'etichetta stampata.
A great thing about this app is that they allow you to do instant reading of a label, so you can do in real time, basically.
Voglio infine citare 2 applicazioni. Un'applicazione è un'applicazione, sviluppata da un ragazzo di Bologna serve per controllare gli autobus, ma è molto utile perché, con questa applicazione accessibile è possibile conoscere l'orario in tempo reale, dell'arrivo dell'autobus. Quindi tu non aspetti la fermata.
There is
Okay.
an application that was developed by a young person, a young man in Bologna, and it's used to recognize buses, but also it tells you exactly what time the bus comes so that you don't have to wait for the bus.
È un'applicazione che è stata presentata, in Italia in realtà, a maggio, negli Stati Uniti penso l'anno scorso, è Microsoft Soundscape, che consente di scoprire, quello che c'è attorno a te mediante l'audio, bineurale.
Another app that was presented in Italy in May and I believe in the United States last year is Soundscape, which allows you to see, to know, basically not really see, but to know everything that is around you.
Infine, nell'ultima slide, che ho portato anche stamattina durante l'incontro italiano, voglio, diciamo, parlarvi di 2 tecnologie che non ci sono attualmente, non ancora, perlomeno in Italia, e che sicuramente potranno cambiare, il nostro modo di vivere nei prossimi anni.
Okay, in the very last slide, I'd like to speak to you about 2 technologies that are not available here in Italy yet. I presented them during the Italian presentation for the LHON Awareness Day this morning. And here they are. Okay.
La prima è il sistema autopilot di Tesla, quindi la possibilità un giorno per le persone non vedenti, ipovedenti, di poter non tanto guidare, ma di poter andare da un punto A a un punto B con la macchina.
First one is the Tesla self-driving that will allow you to go from one place to the other.
E la seconda è la realtà aumentata, che ci consentirà un giorno di avere un OCR sempre presente, tante informazioni sempre presenti, magari mediante l'utilizzo di occhiali, appunto, che sfruttano la realtà aumentata.
And the second one is called increased reality, which one day, through glasses, special glasses, will allow us to see.
E la terza, diciamo slide è un punto interrogativo, la terza immagine è un punto interrogativo perché mi piacerebbe sapere, qual è da voi, secondo voi, la tecnologia che manca, quella che deve ancora essere scoperta per le persone con problemi di vista. Grazie davvero a tutti, soprattutto grazie Paola per la traduzione davvero fantastica.
And the third slide is a question mark because I would like to know from you what technology is still missing, what needs to be invented, what could be useful to all of us. And with this, I'd like to thank all of you for giving me this.
Grazie mille Paola.
Di nulla.
Thank you both so much. We had 2 quick questions that came in that I'd like to ask before we move on to our next speaker. First question is, what is the name of the app used to simulate vision?
Ci sono un paio di domande prima di continuare. C'è qualcuno che vorrebbe sapere come si chiama la app che viene utilizzata per simulare la vista?
Allora, l'applicazione si chiama iSee ed è stata sviluppata a Macerata, quindi è un'applicazione italiana.
The app is called iSee and it was developed in the city of Macerata in Italy.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. And then the second question is, what is the name of the portable device held on glasses that can read text and read it out loud?
La seconda domanda è come si chiama quell'aggeggio che si mette sugli occhiali e che può leggere puntando il dito?
Allora, Vi dico i 2 dispositivi attualmente in commercio in Italia, ma sicuramente sono disponibili anche in altri paesi. Uno è il dispositivo Orcam e l'altro, dispositivo che consente di avere la lettura sull'occhiale, si chiama, Envision Glass.
There are two devices available at the moment, and one of them is called Orcam, and the other one is called Envision glasses.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mikhaile, for providing all of this incredible information. He is going to hang around and be back for the Q&A at the end of today's event. And Paula, we will have you coming back, joining us in just a little bit. So we'll see you guys shortly.
Thank you.
The next round of presenters will share their real-life experiences with LHON and the technology options they're using to live a full and productive life. Again, please be sure to ask questions throughout the presentation. Please join me in welcoming Krista Indy. Krista, thank you so much for joining us today. Krista is from Sweden and is a low vision therapist and an expert in residual vision technology. It took 30 years for him to receive a diagnosis with LHON after developing symptoms at 19. In 2003, he wrote a book called Bad, Feel Good, a handbook on coping with the trauma of severe visual impairment. Krista, can you share with us the importance of accepting having low vision and how that leads to the acceptance of the use of devices?
Yes, I would love to. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, great. Well, my name is Inde, like in the English word in the mood. But I've not always been in the mood, because when you have a visual impairment, you lose something very important. And you can reach the bottom of a moody stage, which is called BSS, which means bitterness, shame, and self-pity. And of course, you have to grieve and suffer from the hardship of losing something. It's the same reaction as when I lost my brother in April. You have to adjust to the feeling of loss and how to overcome that. One main point is to know everything about your visual impairment. It's like meeting a person you don't know and you don't like. But if you get to know him or her, perhaps you can start liking him, or making friends with your enemy. So if you come up to a person who has just come to the low vision center of the low vision clinic, and you start to give him or her devices, you are doing a big mistake. Because first you have to assess in what psychological stage this person is in. So that's why we have in the Swedish LHON Eye Society organization a person who is a psychotherapist who has LHON herself. And she's been working 30 years with psychological problems of vision loss. So she's a perfect person to start with if you want to use devices. And also, I'm very provoked by persons who talk about low vision persons as if they were blind. I always talk to English or American persons within the field of low vision when they call me legally blind. Perhaps I am legal blind from an insurance point of view, but I still call myself illegally sighted. And I want to use my vision as much as possible, and then I have to train it. But before you can do that, you have to overcome your psychological issues. How do you do that? In my book, Vedo male ma sono felice, or See Bad, Feel Good, or schlecht sehen und dabei gut fühlen. I've tried to say that the 4 steps are: first, to have a good family around you or friends who say that you are as good now as you were before. The second stage is to meet yourself or others in your same situation, in the same situation. I would have loved to meet myself the way I am today when I was 19 and had my visual impairment. To have role models, and that's why we create diagnostic groups. The third step is to have professional rehabilitation team around you, because the eye doctors, we don't need them yet because they have no medicine or cure or therapy for us, unless they are very nice and warm-hearted persons, like some friends I have that we cooperate with. And the fourth step, that is the step of assistive technology and devices that can help you use your vision or your hearing. What I always tell persons is to join the movement called People First. I'm not a visually impaired man. I'm not a VIP in that sense. I'm a man with visual impairment. The man comes first. And I'm still the same kind of man, even if I read very closely. And I read with my nose, holding the text 1 inch in front of my eyes. And I look above the text and I move the text in order to see that it says wherever, whatever, whenever. I have said to myself that I will never feel ashamed of my devices, so that I use them wherever, whatever, whenever I need them, because no one else is forbidding myself to use visual devices but myself. There are no signs on the trains in Sweden that says it's forbidden to read closely here. And not very many persons come up to me and say, does it smell well? I think that the use of iPhones and technology like iPhones is used as telescopes today because they look normal and you want to be normal. And all the apps you have there is a way of being one of everyone. But I tell you that I think that if very many more of us use technology that is not normal, then it becomes normal, in the sense that you are a visually impaired person who is smart enough to accept devices. And the things you need from the morning till night is different from different persons with LHON. In Sweden, we think that we are around 150 up to 200 persons. In Denmark, they know for sure. They know it's 104 persons. But we don't know yet. We have just started the LHON Registry for research. Today, we have 66 persons and 51 families. Among them, I believe that around 85 to 90% can use their vision in a very good way by using eccentric viewing. And we made an app called exfix.se in English and Swedish, so that you can train using eccentric viewing when you have come to the stage that you want to be able to use your residual vision, instead of looking into your central scotoma. So stop looking into your central scotoma and use peripheral vision, because it works. Sometimes persons complain about that they see things that are not there. As you know, it's called Charles Bonnet syndrome. And of course, that's a nuisance, at least in the beginning. I would say that in some cases, it takes like 6 to 12 months until you have a constant vision that you can rely on. Then you know what you have left. So perhaps you have to wait for up to 6 months to start to use glasses for magnification. And for magnification, you can use glasses up to 10 times of magnification. Then, and in combination with high magnification in glasses, you can use closed circuit television systems and zoom on your iPhone. But, you know, you start the morning by putting your body talking to a person in the scale, in the talking scale. And I don't like her very much because she doesn't tell me what I want to hear about my weight. And then you go on with the speech outlet from Miss Cyree to tell you what time it is. But you can also use your glasses. So if you are a person who has accepted your visual devices, then you bring them along. We had last Thursday 8 persons sitting in a classroom to become LHON ambassadors of Sweden from different parts of Sweden. And it was very interesting to see that 3 out of 8 used telescope to see the PowerPoints of the eye doctors who were telling us how not very far research has become yet. So I started to ask each one of the 5 persons why they haven't started yet to use telescopes or the camera on the iPhone if they wanted to look more normal. And the answer is, I'm not there yet. So my simple advice is to find all kinds of devices, use your vision. And if in very few cases, LHON patients should learn to use Braille. That's my opinion. Because I was taught to learn Braille and use a white cane when I was 19 years old, because the professionals didn't know better. They were either teachers for the blind or teachers for the sighted. But today we are teachers for low vision. And we know that persons who suffer from a loss has to overcome the loss before you can lose your imagination, get peace in your soul, and then start the old life again in a new situation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Those are wise words, Krista. And I think what's most important out of it is low vision is what you're dealing with. It's not who you are. And that's a really important message in moving forward and bringing the devices into your life to help you adjust. So we appreciate your wise words. We thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to chatting more next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you yourself.
Okay, so next up, we have Leo Steinkamp-Sommer from Germany. Leo is at university and he's involved with the LHON Society in Germany. Leo, thank you for joining us. I'm going to pull you in. Leo, are you ready to go?
I'm from Germany.
There you go.
Hello, hello.
Leo.
Hello, can you hear me? Am I
We
still
can
on?
hear.
Oh, now can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'd like to talk about mainly 3 accessibility devices. The first one I use myself, and the second and the third one are more specifically for use when you're completely blind. I myself, I have a vision of 3 and 7%, and as the previous speaker, I think it was Krista, already said, I think he has a similar vision, and I am using Zoom most of the time. So the first device I'm going to talk about is called the Vizio Book, and it's a portable magnifier. And I'm going to try to share my screen with a video on it in a minute. Basically, what it does. Can you see my screen yet? Can someone tell me if my screen is visible already? I don't think so. Anyhow, the Vizio Book is a portable magnifying. Is the connection lost?
Yeah, we just lost your screen. Yeah,
Oh, okay, I got you.
lost your shared screen.
Yeah, okay, that's okay.
Would you like to try again, or would you
Yeah,
like to?
I'm going to try again. Can you see my screen now?
Okay, hang on just a second.
Dang.
We can see your screen now.
But just now, right? You couldn't before when I was in another program. Is that right?
Yeah, we see a blue screen.
But you couldn't see the other programs I just switched to, right?
The only thing we see is a blue screen.
Okay. Never mind. I will post a link, and then you can send the link to the page where on Facebook or something. Anyways, basically it's a device that you can fold up, and then it's about the size of 2 laptops. It's about the thickness of 2 laptops, and it's about squarish. And it's like about 3.6 kilograms. So and it's a portable CCTV. And the special thing you can do with it, and that I don't know any other device that can do that, as well as the Vizio Book can, is using it on your lab. So for instance, I was in a choir and we had our songbooks, and I could just put them on my lab on the Vizio Book, and I could read them just like all the other participants. So how it works is you have like the bottom part, and then you fold the part, the upper part. You fold the upper part up, so that it's basically a V shape. So like a V that's on the side. So that it's open to one side, the side you're sitting on, and then the plate you just pulled up, and the one that is building a triangle and it's sticking up, you from that one you pull out a screen, and you can pull out the screen right in front of your face, in front of your nose, so that you don't have to crunch down. So you have your screen up, like if you had an external monitor with a great sort of arm or something, and then you have a camera behind the screen on a separate thing, and the camera can either point down so that you can read a book or anything else, and you can also write underneath there with your like handwriting, traditional handwriting, and you can swivel the camera around so that it looks right ahead of you. So basically that's useful for situations like in a classroom when you want to look at a whiteboard or flip chart or something like that, and you can zoom in there just as well as when you're looking down with the camera, and you can even swivel the camera all the way to the other side so that the camera faces your face. So that's helpful for makeup or any facial hair or something like that. I don't use that all that too much, but basically the camera pointing down is the main use case I'm using that for, and you can fold up the Vizio Book in about 5 seconds and pull it out and folded up in about 5 seconds. So it's very, very mobile, very portable, and I really like it. So basically that's the gist. One of the other products is the laser cane, and my Vizio Book is currently away, so I don't have it here to show it, but I think the link that I will show, that I will send, and I'm currently even producing a video with a Vizio Book that's coming online in a few months. So either way, you will have some material to look at. The laser cane is basically a usual white cane with a different handle. The handle has a laser in it, as the name says, and the laser is pointing about 90 degrees up from the cane. So if you're walking with the cane, as you do, the laser is pointing towards the area that your upper body is facing. And the handle of the cane, of the laser cane, is vibrating as soon as it detects an obstacle. So for instance, if there's something like a branch hanging over the sidewalk, or like a window sticking out, or some sort of poster, or I don't know, you can imagine different things that hang out, or like a door of a big truck or something, and you know that it's there before you run against it. But you can also use it in very creative ways. For instance, people walk in the middle of a corridor and tilt the cane to the right and to the left, and they can feel how far it's away. So basically, you can set the parameter, the meters that it should, like the sensitivity. So you can say if it's 2 meters away, it should vibrate, or you can say it's 50 centimeters away and it should vibrate. You can set it 2 meters and so 2 centimeters intervals, and the longest is 4 meters. So you can even find some traffic lights or something. If you know, I'm on a huge square and I'm looking for something that is sticking out from the bottom, from the ground, and I know, oh, I'm gonna have a look what the cane is finding in my parameter of 4 meters. But very different use cases. Right. I'm probably also linking a video for that. So another one is very simple to explain. It's the FAME. That is the abbreviation for Farbmessgerät, and that's German for a color recognition device that says the color. It doesn't really make sense to show it now because it's in German, but it can also show you in a sound what the light is. So I'm going to demonstrate it. So there's a light in the ceiling, and if I go down on the table, the tone gets really low. So yeah, if you don't see anything, it's very useful to find out if the light is on or where the windows are and stuff. And for instance, I have a use case for the color recognition myself, even though I still have a vision, and that's, for instance, for sorting socks, because they're very, very similar, the color, and the device, the FAME, can tell if the colors are the same or if they're different or if they're similar. All right.
Thank you so much, Leo. I know that you have a lot more information and device details that you'd like to share, so we'll be sure to collect all of that information from you, and we'll share all of the information and the links when we post the follow-up to this presentation. So we appreciate you being here to share, and we will definitely be sure to connect with you so that we can share everything we didn't have enough time for you to bring to the table today. So thank you so much, Leo. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's an honor.
Thank you. Take care. Okay, so next joining me, I have Anna Velosa. Anna is from Portugal, and her son was diagnosed with LHON while at school. She is a strong advocate for LHON patients in Portugal. Hi, Anna. It is so great to have you with us. So tell us about your son, Tomas. Can you not hear us, Anna? I can hear you if you start speaking. We're going to give Anna just a second to log off and to log back in. And we will have, again, we had lots of great information to share today. Some of it we aren't going to be able to get to. So, oh, there we go. We've got some feedback there. So Anna, if you can hear me, we'll wait for a second for you to log back in. If not, oh, there you are. Okay, let's bring her back in and see if we can get that to work. Anna, can you hear me now? There we go. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. So if you could kick us off and give us, tell us the story and the journey about your son, Tomas.
Yes, yes. Okay, sorry, because.
So if you could kick us off and give us, tell us the story and the journey about your son.
Can you hear me well? It's
We
okay
can.
now.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for this opportunity to be here. I'm okay. You are hearing me well.
Yes.
So thank you for this opportunity to be here. I'm speaking from Portugal. Is it okay? Is it okay now? I have a big problem with the sound. I don't know.
We can hear the presentation repeating in the background. So let's do this. We'll pull you off and we will move forward with our next speaker, if that's okay.
Yes, I don't know why.
Okay. Anna, if you can hear me, if you can mute yourself, that would be great. Okay. So joining us now is Elian Ed Cartel. Sure, I completely mispronounced that, so I apologize. She works with IMP. If I could ask anyone who's not speaking, if you could mute yourself, that would be great. Okay, so I think Elian is, we've lost her as well. So why don't we do this? We have a recorded video. I'm not sure where we've got this.
Good afternoon. Hello, friends. I am Pedro Garcia. tools with ONCE. It's a great project. Okay, these kind of tools will be accessible for all members. The name of the first is Medicamento Accessible Treatment. In this case, you can find good information about your personal treatment. Only you have to take a photo in the QR code. In a few seconds, the screen reader of your application tell you the characteristics, the key information about your treatment. It's an excellent application. Well, the name is, I have low vision, tengo baja visión. This date is very important. More than 240 million people around the world have low vision. This application is very important for this date, and it's important too because it was created for retinal dystrophy people in a big organization at the north of Spain, exactly País Vasco. With this tool, you can learn about large number of visual disease. You can also find here rare optic disease to learn about the characteristics of these pathologies, and you can also find information about LHON. Yes, so LHON is here. In tengo baja visión. I have low vision. There is a particular tool in this site. You can find a simulator and you can live with this condition. You can see different pathologies in the big or large directory, and you can use the simulator for know which is the condition of this with this rare disease or general pathologies. Okay, finally, thank you so much for your time, for cooperation, and for your attention. It's very, very important in these days. I congratulate you on this second LHON day, and we will touch when you want. Pica for you, best regards in Spain. Bye-bye.
Okay, we are excited to have that video from Pedro while we try to work out some of our technical difficulties. So we are going to try and go back to Anna. Anna, I'm going to bring you in. And let's make sure you can see. Can you hear me?
Yes, and you?
There we go. Okay, I'm glad
Sorry.
No worries. What's a presentation without some glitches, right? It's what we're used to.
Yes.
Just and keep moving forward. So,
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your son, Tomas?
Well, first, I would like to thank IMP for organizing this event. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm really glad to participate in this event. I'm from Portugal, and I have LHON young boy. He's called Tomas. And our journey to LHON started in 2016. He was 15 when the first symptoms of LHON appeared. Tomorrow it will be 5 years. And Tomas had a perfectly normal and current life of a young teenager in his 50s. He was studying, practicing several sports, etc. But perhaps regarding his rehabilitation into his new condition as an LHON patient, he has had an advantage, if we can put it like that, because he was born in a technological century. I heard Chris Indy speak, and I was so glad he told us so many things. Me too. I understand them well, because when my son was diagnosed with LHON at the hospital, he was given the only advice that was to learn Braille immediately. And they told us that was the main solution for him. Within these 5 years of coping with LHON and trying to help our son, we understood that Braille, for some LHON patients, not to everyone, can be seen only as an extra tool, not the main tool. So this is a point I would like to tell, and also that each patient must be seen as an individual with his personal needs. So when Tomás was diagnosed with LHON, school was starting. It was September, and he was going into his second year in high school. And he was the first LHON student on that school. But we wanted him to continue studying and attending classes at the same school, with the same friends, with the same teachers. But at first we didn't really we didn't really know what he was going to need because everything was new to us. And also the school was not prepared technologically, as the books, for example, were not on a digital format. Nevertheless, the school accepted the challenge. We worked together, and classes and evaluation were adapted to him with many oral evaluations, more time to do the exams. And he managed to finish high school without failing and was admitted to the university 3 years ago.
That's fabulous. So can you share with us about those initial conversations with Tomás's school regarding accessibility and his needs? And what were, if you could go back and give advice to another family that is preparing to have those conversations, what is it that you wish you needed to know? What would you share with other families about how to prepare for those types of conversations with the school?
Yes, one thing I find it's important to say is that as this rare disease didn't come with a user guide, so we are working with it on a daily basis, and we try to understand and figure out the needs and the possible solutions for Tomás within time. And that's it's a process. It's still a process of learning after these 5 years. And the second thing is that we have to understand that the LHON symptoms and effects are very different from patient to patient. And each patient and each person, each LHON person has to try the best technological tools which enables him to complete everyday activities. So when we had those conversations with the school and then with the university, we made it like a challenge to everyone. At high school, it was more difficult because the books were not in the digital format. At university, it has become more easier because everything is digital, and it is more easier for Tomás to follow classes and study. I think it's a matter of speaking with each other and trying to reach a consensus of what is better for the student. Now he's studying at university, like you said, for 3 years. He's studying marketing management. He studies with 2 devices, a portable computer and an iPad, and of course using the magnifier software and the voice assistants. But nevertheless, being part of a generation who uses technology all the time, it has been quite easy for him to adapt writing and reading on a computer and using the Zoom. Nevertheless, it as all LHON patients know, it requires a great physical effort, and of course he has also developed a lot his memory, his hearing, but his fight is to continue using his eyes as possible as he can. So that's the reason I thought I told at the beginning that Braille cannot be seen as the main solution, because these patients, like my son, he wants to use his eyes as many as he can. If I may, Cara, just tell a curiosity related with the pandemic. Okay, on these past 2 years, all students came home to study and to have online classes. So this is curious, because for the first time, all students were at the same level as Thomas, having to hear classes, having to do written examinations on their computers. So the pandemic was a way of matching all the students at the same level as Thomas. That is quite curious.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And, Krista talked about the normalization of using these adaptive technologies. And one of the great things, as you said, all kids are using them. It's the age of technology, and the technology is such
Yes.
a part of their lives. And so for the LHON patients, the young adults, the teens, it doesn't create them as an outlier, right? Because they're using the same technologies with some adaptations
Yes.
that everyone else is using.
Yes.
So that's
one thing. Yes. One thing I find very important to say is that when a young boy is diagnosed with the LHON, the devices which help him in everyday activities must be inclusive, must be common to all students, to all of his friends, and that's an important matter for my son. Of course, all the devices had to be purchased by us, because we had no support from the Portuguese state. So we had to purchase everything.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that he's doing well and he's at university. And we look forward to hearing more about his successes. So anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, having this opportunity to talk about my son and my experience as a mother, I would like to tell you 2 important lessons I have learned within these 5 years. First, and perhaps the most important lesson, is that we are stronger than we think, and that our life depends on our attitude and decision. And when we face a diagnosis like LHON, is very hard to all the family, but it is not important, and that has been proved by the number of things my son has achieved during these past years. And the second lesson is that, as Krista Indy told us, the family must keep united and active, learning to be patient, developing creativity, and having hope. All the challenges in dealing with LHON within the family will give us nice opportunities to stand for and fight. Of course, technology cannot be replaced by the love and caring of the family, and that's the most precious support these LHON patients need. So we have to go on.
I appreciate that. And you're right. It's the love and support of the family and the community. And that's one of the things that IMP is so honored that we can be here to uplift the members of the LHON community as you're making all of these transitions and making adaptations and trying to figure out how to maintain independence and live the best life that you can live, right? Because as we talked about, LHON doesn't define who you are. It's just something that you're living with. So.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And before we sign off, can you tell us, so last year IMP produced an LHON brochure, which is available in English, Italian, and German. And I understand you have translated it into Portuguese. Can you tell us, is it available? When will it be available?
Hopefully it will be available on the IMP website in the next month. Okay, I hope.
That is wonderful. Anna, thank you so much for sharing and being here today and sharing Tomas's journey and your family's journey. We appreciate you.
Thank you, IMP and Kyra, for helping us over this event. And I also would like to thank very much Paola Morandi and Italy for being our spokesperson in the European LHON group. Thanks, Paola.
Yes, kudos to Paula always. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye. Okay, up next, Sarah Knapp from the US will be joining us. Sarah is completing her master's in Assistive Technology and will share with us about the JAWS in combination technology. So Sarah, we are going to bring you on. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi there. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Can you hear us okay?
I can. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's an honor.
Wonderful. So, Sarah, tell us about your first, you first found using computers difficult and stopped using them for a couple of years. Tell us.
I did.
Yeah. Tell us about the journey of accepting the need for assistive technology and how you're doing and you're thriving.
Yes. So when I first began my journey with assistive technology, upon diagnosis, I just increased the font size on my phone and used magnification for a long time. And I found I was very limited in what I could do on even just my phone. And I couldn't use my computer anymore at all. I was luckily hooked up with an organization here in Maine, which is in the United States, called the Iris Network. And I received some training to begin with Zoom Text. And what Zoom Text is a screen magnification program that will make the screen bigger, and it does some speech with it as well. And I thought that was enough, but using the computer was so straining, my eyes couldn't handle it for very long. And then I put down the computer for 3 or 4 years. I didn't expand any more upon myself, and I didn't work for that time either. And I found the bridge back to working through learning JAWS with Fusion software. So JAWS and Zoom Text combined, where I sit to use my computer. I have a large monitor. I have it zoomed in so that I can see about 1/4 of the screen to maybe 1/3 of the screen at a time. And I use those JAWS keyboard commands to read what's on the screen. And I've become tremendously efficient with it, to where I believe I can keep up with my sighted peers, which is not somewhere I thought I would be sitting with a visual impairment, but it's come a long ways. And as one of our previous speakers had said, I think part of it was the acceptance piece. I didn't think I needed a screen reader. I can see well enough to see the screen, but the truth was I really wasn't doing it to the fullest capacity that I could.
So
through this journey, I've come that way.
Explain to us exactly how the JAWS software works. So it reads out loud to you what you're seeing on the screen. Is that correct?
Correct. So for example, on a simple Google search, you can use keyboard shortcuts to read just the web page headings by pressing the letter H. It will read out what that heading is, what that heading is. And then you can use your arrow key down to learn more information. And if that's not what you're looking for, press the H key again. It'll read that heading. And then the arrow key down and it'll read lower and lower. And it can, there's other jump commands if you want to just go to different links, or if there's a table you're looking for, you can jump all over that website to find the information that you're looking for.
So share with us about the impact on your life now that you've been able to come back to the computer, you've gained your independence in being able to navigate that and add different aspects of your life. Tell us what that has been like for you.
It's huge. Right after I began getting assistive technology training, the company I was getting training from offered me a job to become both a vision rehab therapist and an assistive technology instructional specialist. And to get both of those positions, I'm currently getting a master's degree from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. So I'm going back to school. I'm in school. I'm about to finish up in the next year here. And I'm able to be a student with my assistive technology.
Well, and how amazing that you're able to take a field that has meant so much and impacted your life so significantly and focus on that as your career, which is amazing.
It's a beautiful thing to work with my own kind. I like to say it. And I love telling personal stories with my clients to help them see that it took me a while to accept it too. I didn't just pick up my iPhone and start using VoiceOver. That's not my experience. It took a while for me to fully experience what I needed to for assistive technology to be as easy as it could be.
Yeah. And do you talk to us a little bit about the period where you hadn't moved forward with the assisted technology? And, I think about it today, right now, right? If we don't have access to our computers every single day, we don't have our phones where we're texting and we're interacting with people, it's almost like you're out of the loop, right? You're not functioning.
Yeah.
So talk with us a little bit about what that period was like and what the turning point for you was in saying, okay, I need to make this change.
At the fear of sounding super dramatic, it's like going from the darkness into the light, because I wasn't able to work. And I now believe I have a lot to offer as a person to society. And at the time I didn't believe that. I thought that I couldn't work. And that I wasn't able to work, and now being able to contribute back to both my community and other people with visual impairments has really just changed my life in such a positive way. That sense of fulfillment I get from working again is tremendous.
Absolutely. And I think, again, back to what we've talked about in so many of these presentations today, this is not who you are, right? LHON doesn't define who you are. It's what you're living with. And you've made the decision to take the challenges that this has brought to you and to turn it into empowering not only yourself, but others who are dealing with similar things, which is commendable. So we are very proud of you. And we thank you for giving your time and commitment to think about everyone else and how what you're doing and the lessons that you've learned can help others. It's really empowering, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much for joining us. Any last words that you'd like to share before we sign off?
I know the first thing I heard when I first became affected was a person in a video online that had LHON and he had one friend, and I was like, oh my God, he has a friend. That's great. I thought that was a big deal, but today I have such a full life. I hike mountains. I'm married. I have a 6-year-old son, and I have this big, beautiful life. So the diagnosis is not the end of your life.
That's right. Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing and empowering and giving others in this community the hope that they can have a full and productive and a life that they can help others. And so that I commend you for that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Take care, Sarah. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon. Okay. Okay, joining us now, we have Elian Ed Cartel, which Elian, I am so sorry already if I did not pronounce that correctly. She works with IMP member LHON Association in the Netherlands, and she will share with us about the app she's using to help her daily activities. So Elian, I will bring you on, and we look forward to having you share some great information with us. Hello, how are you? Oh, you're muted. There we go. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It took a while to get in, but I'm here.
I'm glad you joined us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you will open up and just tell us a little bit about your journey with LHON.
Yeah, well, that journey started in 2013, where I lost my vision quite rapidly, not knowing what was going on. It took about 6 months for the diagnosis. And like Sarah said, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, you pretty much go into the mourning process, which takes years sometimes. And you fall down, you get up, and you move on. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I haven't used a cane for the first 7 years, and me and the cane are now friends. So made some progress there.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, share with us a little bit about some of the apps and the technology that you have found to be helpful in your day-to-day journey.
Yeah, I was just like Sarah. I was working with JAWS previously, but I couldn't get around with it, and it was making me extremely tired. So here at the National Institute for the Blind, they suggested move on to Apple and use all the Apple devices. So I did. You know, I got an iPad, iPhone. I have a Google Home to assist me to make my house a little bit smarter. And on my phone, I have all these apps, for instance, how to use a train. Over here in the Netherlands, it's quite common for people with a handicap, regardless of which it is, to use taxis. It's sort of like an Uber, except you share it, and it's quite a bit cheaper. So I'm not too much into the trains, but if you do use the app, it tells you exactly where you need to walk, how long it takes to get from A to B, and even how much it costs. So that one's quite handy. Also, due to the fact that I live alone and like to be as independent as possible, I have an app where you can see which store or restaurant is accessible, as in, is there a bathroom? Is there good enough lights? Do you have to go upstairs, downstairs? Very handy. I have an app that tells me when I need to take which trash out.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So
that's very helpful.
Can we stop that for a second?
Sure.
The app that you use to determine accessibility in restaurants, what is that app called?
Well, of course, it's Dutch. It's called ongehinderd, which means basically such as something like no limits, you know, as in there is still limitations, but it's also for theaters. When you want to go to a theater, do you need to go upstairs? Is there an elevator? To me, it's extremely handy. However, it hasn't been updated in a while, so that you got to pay attention to.
Okay. And then I'm really interested to understand about the rubbish. So do you have to buy, do you have to buy special cans, or how does it explain to us how that all works?
Well, the city, the one I live in, it's actually not a city, it's like the Boondocks, but they provide you with 3 cans. One's for plastic, one's for paper, and one's for what you call rubbish.
Okay.
What I did is I attached a little string to each one of them because they have different colors, which obviously I can't see. Now, on Wednesday night, I open the app and it tells me take out the green, gray, or purple one.
Okay.
So there's never any mistakes, you know, there's no smelly trash or plastic sitting here for weeks. Very handy.
I love that. I love that. So tell us if there was one piece of technology that you just absolutely couldn't do without, what would that be?
Ooh, well, piece of technology, that would be basically my iPhone. That the
Mhm.
whole technology is in there. And me and Google Assist are pretty good friends now too. I come downstairs and tell to turn the heat on, you know, whereas before it used to be like hotter than crap in here because I couldn't see. So
Yeah,
I was trying to count, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was like, oh, it's good now. And
yeah.
somebody would walk in the room and say, good Lord, it's like 100 degrees in here. So that is something I can't do without. I can't live without Siri and pretty much everything that has to do with Apple.
Yeah. So tell us how Google Assist works. Do you have, is it an app on the phone? Do you have devices throughout your house? Are you
No, I
connected?
have a small device that looks like a donut. I mean, you can expand it to Google Nest, and what's connected to that is my lights, my television, my heat, my Spotify. What else is connected? My front doorbell. I have a Ring front doorbell,
Okay.
just to be safe. You know, I
Mhm.
don't. Do you know what Ring doorbell
I
is?
do.
Is
I'm a
that?
big scaredy cat at home, and I had to spend 5 days by myself. And I had my husband put one on our front door. So yes, I have a Ring too.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm not sure if that's an international thing, but it makes me feel very, very safe. You know,
Yeah.
I speak to the person who's there, and I usually don't open. Like I said, I live alone because my husband passed away, and so that's also connected to my Google Home.
Mm. Okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes, yes.
So tell me, what would be your biggest piece of advice for other patients who are striving to obtain the level of independence that you've been able to with the tools that you have brought into your day-to-day life? What would be the biggest piece of advice you would have for them to successfully implement that and remain as independent and live just such a full life like you're doing?
Um. Well, I think, you know, most everything has been said. We are who we are. We are not LHON.
Mhm.
Never give up. Deal with your emotions because they're allowed to be there. You know, there is in the beginning, or however long it may take, there is a very dark side to this. If you come from a sighted world, not being able to see or drive anymore, giving up your independence. But I would say just go out there and try it. And what I took, well, it took me too long to become mobile. I was depending on people, and you know, it's nice to have people around that accept you, like Christopher said, for who you are, not for your handicap. But it's extremely important to be able to move from A to B by yourself and get that feeling where I remember the first time I walked to my doctor, and I felt so proud, not going to the doctor, but doing that by myself. So don't
Yeah.
give up. Just keep moving.
I love that. That's great words of wisdom. We thank you so much for joining us today and sharing.
Pleasure.
We wish you all the best, and we look forward to staying in touch and learning more about how you are thriving.
Thank you, Kyra. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So for our last bit today, we're going to have Paula Morandi sign us out, our champion for LHON.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyra, and thank you, IMP. IMP has taken us around the world, and it's been so interesting to hear all the different testimonies of how people use technology. It's just been absolutely wonderful, and I really want to thank IMP for making this possible. I want to thank all the LHON groups around the world for listening to us. And I really want to thank all the participants for being here today. And especially a big thank you to Kyra and to Joe, who's been working behind the scenes, and Wonder Women. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paula. Well, we think you are our Wonder Woman for the LHON community, and we thank you for pushing forward to bring this program to us for year 2. And we, as I said, IMP is committed to continuing to advance how we're supporting the LHON community. We want to hear from you. We want to understand how we can work together and support each other, no matter where we live in the world. And we will continue to do that. So please be sure to reach out to us. So thank you, as Paula said, thank you to everyone for joining us today, our speakers, all of the attendees, Joe DeBry with IMP, we thank you behind the scenes, Jeannie Freeman from Mito Action, who've been behind the scenes helping us troubleshoot and keep things moving from a technology perspective. We really hope that you found all of this information valuable, and that you'll continue to look to us for ways to help enhance your life and know that you're not alone on this journey, right? And as we keep saying, LHON is not who you are, it's just what you're living with. And so we also look forward to seeing all the ways in which everyone is celebrating Mitochondrial Disease Awareness Week. And we hope that you will share on social media, share photos of everything that you're doing so that we can see all the ways in which we are collectively raising our voices. So thank you everyone for joining us. It has been an honor to be your host today, and we look forward to talking with you all soon. Thank you so much.